This is Jesse Goldberg-Strassler, joined by Lansing Lugnuts pitcher Chase De Jong. Chase, beyond pitching, what other positions did you play?
Well, back in high school, I played right field, and so pretty much outfielder other than pitching. So,
when did you start full-time pitching, committing to it?
Well, I played both sides of the field, offense and defense, my whole career up until I got drafted. So pretty much just until I signed professionally, then I just strictly pitching.
What were your strengths as, a hitter?
Well, I hit left-handed, so just the big left-handed bat. I wasn't really fast, but I could run a little bit, and I got a big arm, so playing right field, I was able to throw out a lot of guys.
So closing years of high school, University of Southern California, you commit. I bet there were tons of other college teams that wanted you to go there. Meanwhile, major league teams are scouting you. What is that like?
My whole senior year was stressful, but it's really a blessing because not a whole lot of guys get to do what I had to do through the whole draft process and recruiting process of collegiate baseball and professional baseball, where my freshman until my junior year was very heavily based on, or just heavily recruitment by collegiate programs. And then once I actually did commit to a school and then became of age where professional scouts wanted to talk to me, where it was the 2012 draft class, then it was like, okay, well, now I committed to SC. All right, now I got to see the other half of this. So it was very fun, to be honest. I'd wake up, I'd go to school, I'd come home, I'd go to the gym, then I'd come back, and then I'd have a scout from the Toronto Blue Jays sitting there waiting for me, and then I'd talk with that scout, do the home visit, and all those things, and then I would be done with the meetings around 9 o'clock at night, and then I'd be able to start my homework because I still at the time was a student. So, it was busy, but how many other kids in the country can actually say that they had that? So,
did major league teams simply want to find out what you were like as a person?
Yeah, the whole purpose of a home visit is to do your homework on the guy. Obviously, you can see what he does on the field, but to see what the person's like off the field, what kind of home environment he comes from. I commend the Blue Jays on it because they actually do a really good job. My area scout Joe Aversa did a phenomenal job with his home visits. That he came back twice, and very thorough, just very welcoming. It kind of puts a face with the organization where it's not such a big kind of just scary organization, that it's, hey, you know what, Joe with the Blue Jays, he was in my house, we were talking, I really liked him, I want to communicate with these guys the best I can, things like that. It does a really good thing on the other half where, we're a high school kid sitting there talking about professional baseball that we've been dreaming about since we were a little kid, and just having that professional scout sitting in your room saying, you know what, Chase, you are good enough, and I think you got a shot, and this is where, we would like to take you, or this is where, we think you would fit in, and things like that. And, the whole scouting process is really, it's surreal. And if I had to give advice to anybody coming up on the upcoming draft, just enjoy the process, because, for some guys it happens once, like me, where you just come out of high school, or for some guys it happens a lot, but it's fun. Take it for what it is. You have professional organizations thinking you're good enough to play for them, so enjoy it.
Speaking with Chase De Jong of the Lansing Lugnuts, where were you on draft day?
Well, the first day, because in 2012, that draft, it was just the first round and the supplemental round, where I was being considered for a few spots on the first day. Kind of hoped that I would go maybe towards the end of the first or anywhere in the supplemental. It didn't happen, so I was sitting in my house watching the TV, just taking it all in. It didn't happen on the first day, so then I just kind of regrouped, talked to my family, talked with my advisor or agent, whatever you want to call him, and then the next morning we woke up, kind of talked about it, prayed about it, and just said, you know what, we just got to submit to God's authority, and if this is what's planned, this is what's planned. And then I'm talking with my agent, talking about a couple teams, and then all of a sudden we're sitting around the breakfast table and we're watching the computer, because it was televised over the computer, all of a sudden it says, now on the clock, Toronto Blue Jays, and then a couple minutes later it says number, whatever serial number they had on me, and it said right-handed pitcher Chase De Jong, and I'm like, holy cow, it happened. Like, for the last 9 months, scouts have been coming to my house telling me it's going to happen, and then it did, and it was just, everything clicked, and first thing I did, obviously, was hug everybody there, but my dad, he's a physician, and he had to go to the hospital, or he had to go to his office, which is about 2 miles up the road. So as soon as it happened, we kind of all grouped together, and I drove over, and I went and saw my dad, and I was like, Dad, I got drafted, and it was just a very sentimental moment, something I'm never going to forget, just an awesome time to just be with family.
Something that you have that a lot of people don't. Speaking of family, your cousin Jordan had already pitched in the organization and made his way all the way up to the major leagues. Did you talk with him, and what advice did he give you?
Yeah, Jordan did. He got drafted by the Blue Jays out of Cal State Fullerton, and then just worked his way all the way up the system and had a cup of coffee in the big leagues. He pitched out of the bullpen up there. Jordan was always there for me whenever I had questions, whenever I needed answers about anything about the pro ball aspect, because, you can try to prepare yourself as best you can for this environment, but if you can talk to somebody that actually went through it and lived it, it's a great resource to have, and Jordan's always been there for me for that. So it's great, and, just to be able to be in an organization that he pitched in, not a lot of people have that. So just to be able to come down and have De Jong on my back and have some of the veteran players or some of the big leaguers that played with him, like Sergio Santos, Ricky Romero, Dustin McGowan, guys like that, Eric Kratz, come up to me and say, hey, are you Jordy's cousin? Or are you related to Jordy? And I'm like, yeah, and just to see the good legacy that he left behind is something that I'm really excited to be able to carry on.
How do you spend your off seasons?
Being on the road from, spring training starts in February. You're here until pretty much September with instructional league or whatever they have afterwards for you. You're on the road a lot, and for the most part of the off season, I usually just spend it at home with family and friends, just kind of catching up. I am an avid outdoorsman. I like fishing. I like hunting. So my dad and I will take a couple trips and go go have a guy's weekend or something like that where we go up and fish and golf and hunt and do things like that. So I really enjoy that. Being from Long Beach, California, the beach is always nice. It's not too cold when you get back there that you can still go and hang out and be at the beach. Come January, you're not really doing that. But so there's no shortage of things to do in Southern California, that's for sure.
Let's go back earlier. You represent Long Beach very well. When you were 14, you played for the Pony League All-Stars. You won the championship. The very next year, the RBI Baseball Championship. Let's talk first about that Pony League title for you. What do you remember of that experience?
That was one of the most memorable summers I'll ever have on a baseball field. We just had a little rec ball team right up the street from my house. I used to walk to practice. It's Whaley Park in Long Beach, and we just had the little rec ball all-star team that we knew we were good, and we've always grown up together like that and just playing all-star ball ever since we were kids. But that summer when we were 14 was pretty magical. We won our city, then we won our state, and then we went on and we won the Western Regionals or whatever, and then we went to Washington, Pennsylvania, representing the Western United States, and it was amazing. We didn't lose a game all summer, and it was unbelievable. And those guys, I'd say 4 or 5 of those guys are my best friends. Like, we still hang out every time I come home and do things like that. And it was just an amazing experience just to be able to have that kind of representation of our city. Where the year before that, the team that went were runners up to Puerto Rico, and then a few years after that, there was another team that went, and I think they got maybe 3rd or 4th place. And then there was a team that went in 2011, I think, the summer 2011 and summer 2012. They won, and they won it. So I mean, it's this little rec ball city park, and we're producing all these championships, or I mean, being represented on a national stage. Where, and we play Puerto Rico, and my year we beat Taiwan or Chinese Taipei. I mean, it's awesome to just see these guys that we literally all live within maybe a 10, 12-mile radius, and we're playing against all these other countries. It was so cool. And, you know, we had 14 guys on that team, and by the end of high school, 12 of us ended up attending the same high school. 12 of us went to Long Beach Wilson. At the beginning, it was 3 of us. It was me, Avery Flores, and Thomas Walker that all didn't. And then after my sophomore year, I transferred in, but we were all playing in the Moore League, which is right there in Long Beach, and it was amazing. I mean, it was so cool because guys would come to the game and be like, "Man, I watched you when you were in Pony League." That was an amazing summer.
How did it feel? You were on TV. What kind of reception did you get when you returned?
First time I ever played on like the big screen or been on TV and stuff like that, and you know, thank God I pitched well, and we actually won on a walk-off home run. So a lot of people, I mean, were watching back home, and it was just amazing. You come back and you are like your little celebrities. It was pretty funny. You know, the one thing I remember is that I remember a lot, but it was an Olympic year when we were there. I think it was 2008, and I remember because actually right up the street from me, I trained with them this offseason. But Misty May Trainer, the volleyball player, and Matt Trainer, the catcher. I trained with them this offseason, but back to 2008, Misty was off in Beijing playing, and it was funny because the Long Beach Press-Telegram covered like the Olympics, and then so you have like Misty's picture, Michael Phelps's picture, and then like right in the bottom corner there's like me and like the rest of the team, and I'm like, man, look at that, I'm on the front page of the newspaper with all these people. It's awesome. So it was like the first little taste of stardom, if you will, that you come back and people read about you or people saw you on TV. It's like, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And then you follow that up the next year. You go out and you win the whole thing again in RBI.
Yeah, we played in the RBI World Series in Miami, Florida. Actually, well, in Jupiter, Florida, and then the championship game was held in Miami. Actually, myself, Thomas Walker, and Solomon Williams, who were on the Pony League World Series team with me, went and we played in the RBI World Series, and we won that. And also on that team was Dominic Smith, who was the first rounder for the Mets last draft, and J.P. Crawford, who was also the first rounder for the Phillies. So, I mean, we had a lot of talent on that team, and it's just all guys from Southern California. I mean, it's a baseball hotbed, but we all know each other, and we all played with each other. So it was just, that was a fun one, too. We played against, in the championship game, we played against the Dominican Republic, and we won. So it was awesome. That kind of made it a real World Series because you played people from other countries. So that was another amazing summer, just playing in Florida. There it is again. I mean, we were playing out of the Urban Youth Academy in Compton, California, put on by Major League Baseball, and just to know that we had their full support, and they were sending all these kids from, I mean, Long Beach, California, pretty much to Miami to represent them and to play, and we were just happy that we did it well.
And finally, with Chase De Jong, what is the next thing you want to accomplish? Maybe by the end of this year, what is it that you've set in your sights?
Well, you know, anytime you come to a full season team or just you come out for another season, my main goal is just to stay healthy and make all my starts. I want to be that pitcher that every fifth day you answer the bell. I want to be that workhorse, if you will. Just, hey, every fifth day, all right, I know De Jong's good to go out there and give me the innings that we have him slated for. And so that's what I want to accomplish, and that's my job. So just want to do my job.
Chase De Jong, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
I'm Jesse Goldberg-Strassler, and this is Lugnuts Baseball on Big Country 92.1.